Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for our bench press day, but a quick reminder for those of you who watch these videos, please remember to click like down below, be greatly appreciated, and hopefully we have a moment of silence long enough for me to voice this over. I got this workout done pretty early this morning. It's been really loud, they're doing a lot of lawn maintenance outside, but all the noises quit, so I'm going to try to voice this over real fast. All right, today I'm keeping with the newer trend of running tighter percentages on the ramp ups so that all 3 ramp up sets actually count as work sets, right? Because we're starting at 75% for the first set of 5. That puts us with, at least 1 effective rep. Trying to do these all paused, and I went ahead and went on the 3rd set with the 270. I went ahead and went for more than 5, which we got 7. All 7 reps, paused, everything clean. I feel like my bench is coming up again finally. All right, my shoulder is good. I have my shoulder health on point. I'm not trying to do silly stuff. Taking care of my shoulders, not doing things that I know I can't do, like pull-ups. And actually doing all this bench volume, my technique is dialing back in. I'm building the muscle back up. And again, people are going to say, but Jason, you said in a calorie deficit we can't build muscle. That is not what I said. I'm not going to cover this again. I said most of you probably can't. I'm going to leave that alone. All right, back over to the point. Really happy with that set. Really happy with that set. Went ahead and went with sticking with the 60% of the training max. Actually, it's technically 1 pound over with this. And did my 5x10, trying to again do everything paused. And this takes me up to, with 5x10, this gives me 8 work sets of bench. Now, I am trying to be conscious of the fact of not taking the volumes too high. So for my supplemental work, afterwards I decided to only do 2 sets of weighted dips. Now, I could come in and do a bunch of sets of body weight dips. That would be less taxing. But I realized this was a fair amount of bench volume, especially with the 5s and especially on an AMRAP week. So on a week like that, I probably don't want to try to do 5 high rep sets of body weight dips. So I went with 2 sets of 10 with 45, which is pretty challenging after all this volume. This volume started getting a little bit taxing after doing the other work. Right, and this is what happens with the 5x10s. People will see this and say, is 60% enough? After you do heavy work, yes. We're getting up into quite a few effective reps. It's not easy anymore. You're getting fairly close to failure, and that's what people need to realize. When we talk about getting close to failure, 2 reps from failure on your last set, if your training volumes are good, is more than sufficient to stimulate maximum hypertrophy. It's more than sufficient. Again, quality of volume, and that's what I've been focusing on myself these days. It's what I focus on with my clients. It produces great hypertrophy. It produces maximum hypertrophy, but it does so without destroying your recovery, right? And we end up getting good amounts of metabolic fatigue from all the volume. That's why I like all these 5x10s these days. And my clients have had great success with it. You guys notice in a lot of my training vlogs, not all my clients do that, but a lot of them do. All right, not necessarily always my conjugate lifters, but all my 531 lifters and some of my conjugate lifters. And it's hard for me to keep up with that, the exact number with that, because I have 11 guys on conjugate right now. Well, guys and girls, because that's obviously not a guy. So I forget which ones are doing 3x10s, 5x10s, 4x10s, whatever, versus who's in the vlogs sometimes. Because again, I'm always programming with these people. But generally my 531 guys are. So after the benching though, we went with just 2 good sets of weighted dips. This puts me up to 10 sets for chest and triceps. We could argue, some people say, well, the benching might not be as optimal for triceps. Okay, so I do a set of band press downs at the end, right? Just to finish off the triceps. I end up doing 1 set. But again, the dips, this puts me up to 10 sets for my pecs and front delts, right? 10 good sets. We're in a good spot there. And then triceps, obviously, dips are arguably one of the best tricep builders. So again, finishing off with that, and I felt a lot of tricep activation on that bench. But this gives me, again, making sure we're getting work sets for the triceps, which are a weak link for me visually, muscle-wise, everything else. But then I finish them off with the band work. Rows, I went with a slightly wider grip today on these pin lays. Slightly wider, more of a medium grip. And I went up 10 pounds. I'm just going to call these barbell rows because that allows me to use a little bit of body English without anyone saying, oh, in a true pin lay row, you can't move a single inch. I just call them barbell rows. And they're obviously not bent over rows, though. It's a different exercise. But I got my 5x10 with 245. So these would come right back up to where my rows were. The last time I pushed them really hard, we're right back there. So we'll keep pushing these up. Now, this is going to be a deadlift exercise for me. It's going to be a big grip builder. That's another reason I decided to do this, is that it lets me handle heavier weight than the bent over row while still hammering my grip super hard. Now, as far as the other shoulder work, I've started doing tons and tons of banded face pulls with different bands, different rep ranges. And I'm going to start doing more band pull aparts. I'm just going to hammer my upper back like a restoration thing at this point. Traps, 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 rear delts all the time. That will allow me to not worry about it as much in my main workouts. I can worry about just these big movements. I can forget about it. So it is something I am doing off camera, one of the few things, because I've been showing you guys. Someone had said, asking, oh, you're showing these tota bars. Why are you doing that? Because people accuse me of doing things or being against something that I do. Like they're like, oh, you don't do ab work. I do insane amounts of ab work. I promote ab work big time. So it's a really weird statement for people to say that. But if I'm showing them off and on like that, number one, it shows you guys kind of where I'm at with the fat loss update. And I'm getting leaner and leaner. And a lot of people have noticed that. They're like, if you didn't have the loose skin from losing 100 pounds of fat, you would look dramatically different. But I feel like that's even tightening up a little bit. To be fair, I'm noticing it getting a little tighter. And I think if I lose another 10, 15 pounds of fat, it will probably get considerably tighter still. And I'm going to keep getting leaner. All right, we're getting ready for meets, getting ready for the 198. I'm going to get leaner and leaner and leaner. And I'm going to have to, even after I start competing, because I'm going to have to keep improving body composition as I compete. I'm not coming in and just doing one meet. I'm keeping meets secret, but I'm not going to be able to keep them secret for long. Right? Because outside of qualifiers, it starts to become real obvious where you're going. Qualifiers and small and Texas meets I can keep pretty private. And I will. It makes my life easier. People don't need to know when I'm competing or where. Right? So, but as I compete, I'm going to have to keep improving. I'm going to have to keep improving. So that means to stay in the weight class, there's going to be more fat loss, more muscle gain. But happy with the rows, and the rows are, again, a grip training tool, total back training tool, deadlift carryover for me. I went ahead and went with the barbell curls. Again, just straight bar curls, and I didn't do any bicep work earlier this week. I'm like, as much as I'm doing a lot of pulling, I still probably need the bicep work. I really do. I wanted to just take it out, but let's be honest here, I don't know that I can really afford to. Right? Unless I can safely do chin-ups again, and I've realized the only way I ever will be able to will be with a wide grip. And I'm not prepared to implement that right now when my shoulders are doing great. I'm going to keep working some extra shoulder mobility stuff, and I'm noticing some changes in that finally from the facials, because mobility work doesn't work. Mobility work is a stupid scam gimmick trash concept, and I proved it by doing metric F tons of it and seeing no improvements. If anything, my mobility got worse. Now all of a sudden my shoulders are starting to do better now that I'm doing front squats and tons of face pulls. Then all of a sudden now my shoulders are starting to almost get a little better. I'm changing the way I'm sleeping a little bit too. And maybe one day, but as of right now, I'm not going to risk it. Right? My shoulders are doing great. My bench is coming back up. I do need to get to a 405 bench. Right? I do need to get to that. So in the meantime, I do need the bicep work. And it's not a big deal. It's still a big basic exercise. And when we're doing a standing curl like this with a little bit of cheat, It's also an upper back exercise, which we need. My upper back is going to be an ultra high priority. It needs to be. That's probably even helping with my bench a little bit, I think. Again, with the bar path and everything. But 5x10 with these, and then I finished off with some band press downs. I went with a heavier band. The last ones I'm doing like something between 70 and 100 reps. I lose count. I went with a band that's double the tension, and I got approximately 35. So we finished off with that. Again, just getting a good pump in the triceps at the end after doing all that other heavier work, and making sure that my tendons are staying healthy, right? A little bit of tendon health by doing a good set of band press downs. And I can alternate these with the really high rep ones too, but 35 reps is still pretty high. Pretty much a set to failure. We don't do multiple sets if I do that. Again, got a good tricep pump at the end, hit a slightly different angle, and finish them off just in case. So I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.